pray, Lord, that you would give them this evening, that you would give them clarity, cooperation, and consideration throughout this meeting. May they govern with kindness and understanding. And we give you all the praise in your name. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Noble?
Here.
Councilmember Roberts?
Here.
Councilmember Zemaitis?
Here.
Vice Mayor Cummings?
Here.
Mayor Howell?
Here.
Manager Cavalli?
Here.
And Attorney Eschenfelder.
This time I'd like to open it up to public comment. I believe that anything that needs to be discussed, if it's not on the agenda, now is the time. If it's on the agenda at the proper time, we'll ask for public comment. So at this time, do we have any public comment? I'd like to open it. Yes, sir.
My name is Robert Harrison. I live at 6048 45th Avenue North, Kansas City. It's not going to surprise you what I'm going to talk about. I've seen a lot of improvement in the lawn parking, but I hope we continue to enforce it. There's still a little ways to go. And as a veteran, I really appreciate the fine work at the park and the flags down the street. It looks excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Goddamn, I'm sure it's getting up. Hi, I'm Anna Dodson. I'm over on 43rd Avenue North. Try it again. Anna Dodson here. I live on 43rd Avenue North. Since I've been to meetings in the past, and just a few this year, I know that each one of you ran for a specific reason. And I know that my old complaints have kind of gone by the wayside. They're not either in the budget or not on schedule yet. So here's my new one. We sold a bunch of homes in 43rd block this year at pretty good price. And I'm wondering what we've done to improve where we can keep these people happy. Appears that some have children. Most of them are walking or riding bicycles. Our playground has never been updated for the children since I've been here for 5 years. But I'm wondering why at least some of the exercise equipment for adults that you have here in this park can't go in over there. It would be very nice to have something at the end of the block. As you can see, I have some physical problems. Yoga keeps me moving, but I don't have any place to do actual calisthenic type exercises, so that would be very helpful. Apparently, we have a place that's starting the same. It's just 2 houses over from the park. It started close to the driveway of the residence. I don't have the house number, but it's the Castle House. And it started to spread out towards the center of the street. And I'm wondering if anybody's brought that to your attention.
Actually, I drove by there yesterday when I called into the county for them to follow up. I haven't heard anything back, but
Okay, but great, that's good news.
Yeah, and also just to let you know, at Unit 12, we also pressure washed, spread out so much, we'll be buying some additional mulch to fill in there. We're also going to be removing the teeter-totter out there. I find that to be an unsafe piece of equipment.
Yeah, they follow a lot.
Oh, a lot, there's pinch points, etc. So, yeah, Ken has that on his schedule now that we fixed our backhoe, he'll be able to.
Oh, super, so if you can warm up some other equipment too, that would be nice. Thank you.
Is there anybody else? All right, at this time I'd like to close public comment and move to the action agenda and turn that over to the town manager.
Mayor and council, I'm pleased to tell you that we're at the absolute final stages to move forward with this transition with solid waste. Tonight let me start that again. Mayor and council, I'm very pleased to present to you that we're at the final stages of the transition. We went through the contract, working with the two gentlemen that's in the audience. Derek, I think it's your last name, Derek Hunt, and head farmer, and of course with our attorney, Rob Eschenfelder. We spent some time, and we presented you with the final product yesterday. Some of the main things to talk about in this contract is that talking about a short transition. Normally this is a 2 to 3 month process. They've done this in 2 weeks, and literally you're signing the contract today, and on May 2nd, they'll be actually providing service. I've worked with them and Football Development in the Kmart property to assist in the transition, and that's where they're putting the commercial carts out there, and they've done the lion's share of making those swap outs. Starting tomorrow, they'll be making the swap outs of the residential cans and recycling bins. So like I said, service will start on Monday, May 12th. So I did say Monday, that is a difference in what we have presently. Presently, we have Tuesday, Friday collections. We're gonna have Monday, Thursday now under this contract. This contract is scheduled to expire on September 30th of 2027, and there is a option for a 5-year extension on that. Some of the highlights of this contract for residential, talking about single-family and multi-family dwelling collection. They'll be getting 2 times collection, again, Monday and Thursday. Bulky waste, yard waste will also be collected at the curbside with the regular solid waste, 2 times a week. They will be providing single-stream recycling, so you don't actually have to sort of separate it. It all goes in a single cart. And for an additional, you said $2 and what was it? $2 if you don't want that 18-gallon cart and you actually want a push cart, you can get that as well. If a resident is disabled and has a difficult problem getting that cart to the front yard, if they do show us something from a doctor that says that, and also they certify that they're the only person they're the only person in that home, and there is no capable person to bring it out to the cart for no additional charge, Waste Pro will handle that as well. The multifamily dwellings, the dumpsters that are out there will be handled like the commercial dumpsters are. And the residential rate is $21.86 a month, and that's going to be paid quarterly. The commercial rates depend on the size and the frequency of collection. They've sent out their salespeople to each of the businesses that were identified and have made that discussion with them. What's your garbage waste? How many times a week do you need it collected, etc. At the moment, there's only 3 holidays that are approved by the Technical Management Committee at Pinellas County Solid Waste. And the way we wrote it into the contract, the next day, not the next collection day, but the next day following one of those holidays, they'll be picked up with the exception of Sundays. If that was the case, we'd go back to the Monday. And a couple other elements that we talked about is the billing and customer service is to be provided by the contractor. The reporting, all the reporting that we have to do for Pinellas County Solid Waste, for the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and all of those will be assisted by the collector, Waste Pro. Residential service will not begin before 7 a.m. as per our code. Service will not be provided on holidays, as I mentioned, provided that the Pinellas County Technical Management Committee and approved by the Board of County Commissioners or on a Sunday. Solid waste is going to be processed as per the law. All solid waste collected in Pinellas County has to go to the waste-to-energy plant, and the recycled materials will be hauled to the materials reclamation facility in Sarasota. And also the vehicles will either be brand new or very new. I believe they have some on order, but we're looking at 2021 is going to be servicing our streets. So that's going to be good, less breakdowns, cleaner running, etc. And they're also equipped with GPS systems that we can look back for 3 months, and they do have cameras that we can look back for up to a week. If you have a problem, we can call in, we can actually review together with the staff to make sure that's taken care of. So with all that being said, I respectfully request Town Council approval to enter into the negotiated contract between the town and Waste Pro to provide the collection of solid waste and recycled materials.
on this?
I wanna know why we are changing. Waste management was less expensive than what we have right now. I mean, than what we're talking about paying per month.
Waste management was $10 more than everybody else.
It was Waste Connections.
Oh, Waste Connections was 60 cents lower.
16 something a month is what I pay.
That's what the old contract was that they had for 17 years. That contract expired and they raised the rates. And then we had to go out to the request for a proposal process where 3 companies submitted: Waste Connections, Waste Pro, and Waste Management. And we set together a unit of 4 people. I'm sorry. And we put together a committee of 4 people. That was myself, that was Annika Basis, that was Ken Moore back there, and our administrative assistant Tori. And we evaluated their price, their proposals, all of that. And by far, Waste Pro beat out everyone. In fact, they were Waste Connections was the lowest. They had received the lowest score.
Okay.
I'm sorry? Oh, they just said something.
Ellen Dowell, 4726 58th Street North. The 2186, is that before or after taxes?
That's the set rate. For yours, it's 2186.
So all residential customers will be billed 2186, and Kenneth City's cut and everybody else's cut is included in that 2186?
Yes, it's 2186. There is credit card, like credit card usage rather than setting up an account. I'm sorry, the routing number or anything like that, there is a fee for that processing fee. But other than that, it's 2186.
And you bill quarterly, so we will get a bill to the house?
Yes, and you can choose to go paperless. Someone can set up an account.
And from what Pete said, it's $2 extra a month to get a recycle bin. That's worth a darn, in my opinion. The other ones are not worth anything. So you're gonna charge us $2 more to have an actual recycled garbage can like
Correct.
the other. Okay. And just to let you know, I called your office Saturday, never got a phone call back. Today's Wednesday. So customer service is on my top list for your company so far. And you sent out postcards with a website that's restricted.
Okay.
Why would you do that?
So because of the timing on this contract and the quick turnaround, we've been going through and going back and forth on establishing the website, but we also had to ensure that the mailers got out before we went live with the contract, so you had the information. But as of today, earlier today, I've received confirmation that the website is live for you all.
The website is unlocked, and how do we go about getting the passwords? We all have to
No,
make phone
it's
calls?
not locked.
It's not locked.
It was
So
locked,
we
it
go
was
under
locked for final review because of ensuring that we have all the information ready to go. But like I said, the mailers had to get out in time to ensure that they were at your guys' homes before we went live with the contract. So you had the information, but the website as of today, after final review, is open and available to the public.
So standard policy with your company is if you leave a voicemail on your answering system that you don't get a return call?
That's not our policy.
Okay,
So
well,
I'm going to
strike one.
I'm going to be looking into that. I appreciate you informing me about that. That's not okay.
Okay, and if we have an extra, say, black garbage bags with, lawn stuff or grass, whatever,
Yep.
they will get off the truck and pick those up if it's not in the garbage can.
Correct, yes, yep.
In fact, there are some restrictions, if it's like, say, yard debris or any, the general standard is 4-foot sections, 50 pounds per section, need containerized, need to be stacked, things like that, and yes, they look like.
What is the Kmart that you're talking about? I was going to pick something up at Kmart.
No, not you, we allowed the contractors to put their, the dumpsters out there to make it simple for the transition.
Gotcha. And did you say there's a fee if I don't let you automatically bank deduct out of my checking account?
There's just a credit card fee. That's
Every month?
if you choose to use the credit card, yes, unfortunately, that's,
Or a debit card is the same thing as a credit card, I assume?
I don't have the answer for you on that one.
And what is that fee?
It's a 3% fee from what I understand.
So we don't automatically deduct it from our checking account, we're going to be.
That's by the choice of a credit card, but if you mail in check, it's
Okay.
not processed.
Okay.
One other statement, tell your drivers that the speed limit on 58 is 30 miles per hour, not 45. Your guys who are delivering the big dumpsters today. And unfortunately, we can't control 58 Street 24/7, so just let them know.
I'll take a look at that as well, because those trucks are GPS and they also have miles per hour. I'll be doing a review on that, I appreciate that, and if it shows a big speed limit, then
Either way, you
I'll.
mind sharing that with me?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the 2186, is that the monthly charge, but you charge quarterly?
Correct.
Go back to what Waste Management used to.
What do we do with the bill I got today from the old garbage company that it's effective May 1st, and now this is not effective until May 12th?
I will follow up on that, you should not be getting.
I got one in my email this morning.
Yeah, I got
Thank you for letting me
I,
know.
I also got that.
Did you?
Yeah, and it's effective May 1st collection. So if these guys aren't coming for 2 weeks, what are we gonna do for
No,
this?
no, they're coming.
No, no, they start Monday.
Next month, yep, next Monday, we're starting to pick up.
Again, it's probably, this is the shortest transition you ever had, so some of those
They
little
start
road
tomorrow
pains
morning.
Okay.
are by far very small compared to some of the transitions.
They start tomorrow morning. So my delivery team, we've got the rest of the week, but they're very good. And they did another project right before this and delivered 2,000 carts out, and they did it in 2 days, so it should go pretty smooth. Waste connections. So your service days currently are Tuesday and Friday, correct? So if your garbage, if you've got garbage in your current can, you place it out at the roadside. What I understand, I can't speak on behalf of Waste Connections, but I've been in communication with them. More than likely what they're gonna do is, as they dump on Friday, after they service you for the last time, they'll be removing the containers.
And how, the process to get a real recycling bin is to call your office and ask them to bring one out?
Yes.
Because all you're gonna drop off is a little itty bin?
Correct, yes, that's the standard at first, that was part of the initial rate, so everyone's getting that 18-gallon bin for recycling and the 96-gallon cart for trash.
And that's $2 more.
From the bin to a 64-gallon recycling cart.
It's $2 more
Per month.
per month.
Yes, sir.
And who's taking the money off of all the recycling?
The I can't speak, maybe,
They own the rights to the recycled materials.
So they're making all the money off of the recycled materials, but we're still paying them to pick it up.
That's standard
Okay.
process everywhere.
Regular trash can.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yep.
Well, for years, there hasn't been any.
I understand that, yeah, I just don't agree with it, because you're making the money off of it and we're paying extra.
We're separating it.
well, but there's
right.
still
Okay.
a processing fee, there's still a tipping fee, a processing fee, all that stuff.
Excuse me, we need to stop all this talking and back and forth and get back on the program here, okay?
But you see, you work for us, and these guys are answering questions that you
I
already
understand,
told us you're
and I understand, I have the same
It's
questions,
nice
and
to
I
have
agree with
answers.
this fella, why, we're paying $2 extra for them to collect our stuff, and then they
But it's
recycle it and
nice
get
for
paid
us
for
to be
that.
able to talk with
Talk to
them.
them.
We're
Not
going to be
between
paying
well,
them for the next
All right,
5
well,
years.
I'll tell you what, go ahead then.
I mean, you just cut us off while they were
I'm-
answering questions
Well,
that we
that's,
had, sir.
I was just trying to keep it moving along, ma'am. If you people have more questions that you'd like to ask these people who are presenting the contract with us, go ahead.
So your Kenneth bin is the one we got.
If I might say something, we have always paid for recycling, no matter what company we had. It's always been a fee that we've been charged. It might not be listed on your bill, but we have always paid for recycling, even to the other company, for them to pick it up, and they were still making money on you, and you were paying the fee. Maybe
I
you
understand
didn't
that,
see
I
it.
understand, I just don't think it's right that you're making money off of us and then asking for more money on top of it.
Only if you wanna, recycle bin
Recycle.
that is actually a recycle bin,
Yeah.
not just a little.
I'm only one of about 5 on all of 46th Avenue that actually does recycling.
Mm.
No, I don't, very, very few people do recycling.
Because you can't fit
You have to
anything in
pay
the
for
little
it.
bins. That's my opinion.
And I agree, we should recycle.
I smell my bin up all the time. Garbage size.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to add to this? No?
So, yes, that's a great question. So for automatic,
Sorry, can you repeat the question so we can all hear it?
I was just asking how we go about setting up automatic payment.
it's a great question. So automatic payment can be done online on the, when you set up and establish an account. But we're going to send out literature with the first bill that goes out, which is gonna go out at the end of May. And because we're falling in the middle of a quarterly bill cycle, so that rate will be different than the 2186, that you'll, well, I'm sorry, 2186 times 2 for the 2 months. And then what you'll wanna do is, and then we're going to send another, bill out at the end of June, around June 20th, and that will be for Q3 or Q3 bill cycle. At that point is when you want to establish the auto pay on your online account because of the pay difference, the dollar difference from the first bill to the second bill. So
the first bill, you can't do automatic payment.
the issue with it is if you do the automatic payment and it sets in a dollar amount, it's going to deduct only that, so you'll be short the 1 month because of the bill cycle, the quarterly bill cycle. So that's why we recommend to hold off. You can set it up, but it would just cause more of a hiccup in the
First bill will be paid 3.5%.
Or a check.
No, you can still set up, like, well, I'm talking about auto pay. Yeah, no, but if you can pay through setting up a checking account, like, putting your information in, and you're fine that way. Yeah,
With no fee.
correct.
And your quarters are just like everybody else.
Standard January through December.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Okay. Any more questions? All right, do we have any questions from the council? No? Do we need to vote on this?
Yes. Roll call, please.
Ready?
Do we need a motion to accept the contract?
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the contract?
I second it.
I didn't get a first yet.
Oh, I thought you were asking the
No,
question.
I'm just asking, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept the contract.
Okay, do I have a second?
Okay.
Okay, we have a first and a second. How about a vote, please?
Councilmember Noble,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Zamitis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
and Mayor Howell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you need
We
to,
move on.
do you need to adjourn the first?
No, not yet.
Oh, sorry.
Not yet. I have an observation that I would like to share with the council due to the fact that we're not allowed to speak. And I have a statement here that I'd like to make and get their opinion on it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Several months ago, during a town meeting, I asked our town manager, Pete Cavella, to summarize chapter 54, along with all the comments of the public and the council at that meeting. I also asked him to bring it back to the council for review and vote in order for it to be implemented. At this point, we still don't have a final plan for chapter 54 ready for a vote. After that, Pete chose to relieve our code enforcement officer of his position with no replacement for that position. At that last council meeting, Pete told the council that his plan for codes was to subcontract that department with Pinellas County. Pete stated in his office to me that he intended to, quote, wash his hands of the town codes department. Three of our 4 council members present at that meeting told him no. Still, he has continued with his plan. Also, at our last council meeting, Pete brought the accounting contract of Andrew Tess, which expired March 31st, 2022 for renewal. Stated in Mr. Tess's contract, there were 3 weeks paid vacation. This is a subcontractor paid on a 1099. I stated that vacations are for employees, not subcontractors. I then asked to see the contract. Mr. Tess stepped up to speak and stated that all his contracts included a paid vacation. The council told Pete we needed to see previous contracts with Mr. Tess for comparison before any decision could be made. It seemed to irritate Mr. Tess that his contract was being questioned, and at that point, he picked up his materials and left the meeting. A few days later, I received an email from Town Hall with a 60-day notice from Andrew Tess of his choice to vacate his position as town accountant. The notice included Mr. Tess's plan to use 3 weeks paid vacation on an alternating schedule. I went to Town Hall to speak to our manager about this. Pete went through his office and his computer looking for a signed contract. He found none. As I waited in Pete's office, he went to ask Anna, our town clerk, if she had a copy of the contract. After a few minutes, she came to Pete's office and stated that there is not a signed contract. Pete then called Randy Mora, our town attorney, on speakerphone and asked if he had a copy of the contract. Randy stated that he would go through his emails to find it and let me know. I asked Pete if he was planning to pay Mr. Tess 3 weeks vacation without proof of a signed, executed contract. Then Pete said to me, quote, "I'm backing Andy on this." Pete, end of quote. Pete then literally pointed his finger at me and said, "This one's on you." End of quote. I then told Pete, okay, I will handle the situation. When I took the position as mayor of Kenneth City, I took an oath to represent the residents of the town to my best ability. I take that oath seriously as I'm a longtime resident. Guarding against the possible misuse of funds of this town is part of that position. After much thought, I decided to seek outside professional counsel on all of this. Therefore, I reached out to Rob Duncan of ImagineNet, who provided services to our town during a difficult transition. I asked Mr. Duncan to attend this workshop and to be present in the town council with our options on how to proceed at this point. With all this in mind, I feel that it is necessary for us to schedule a special council meeting as soon as possible for the council to discuss our options. At that meeting, we have a representative from ImagineNet to advise the council. Thank you.
Can we speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I would like to speak because this contract that was done was signed by all of you who were on the council when Matt was here, and Matt took all of the contracts, so that's why there's not a contract available. It is the same exact contract that you all signed on the last time the contract was brought up, only this time it was a 20% decrease than what you signed a year ago. It was a continuation of that, and where the signed contracts went should not be Mr. Cavalli's issue, because he wasn't even here when you all voted to sign that last contract for this man, and he walked out because several of you on the council were rude to him and implied that all he had to do was push a button to get an answer. I would have walked out too, if you would have spoke to me like you did that man.
And just wanted to point out, Andy Tess, on his vacation, as we said, was here Monday for a couple hours, spoke to me for an hour on Tuesday, and was there for how many hours today? About 3 or 4 hours? Mm-hmm. So just to point out the quality of person that Andy is. May I have the floor for a moment, do you mind?
We'll go through.
We'll go through council first, if you'd like.
I wasn't here when Matt was here, so it wasn't all of us.
I wasn't here at the last meeting either, but did Mr. Tess provide a reason for his resignation?
Mr. Mora, I'm sorry, he just executed a 60-day notice of termination.
Hostile work environment would be my guess. Sorry.
Honestly, it has been insulting, some of the conversation around what he does, and again, when I have several cities here where they pay that are about equal size to us, and when you see the
They're not equal size to us.
Indian Shores.
That is close.
Bel Beach is smaller than us.
And I'd like to say something else.
Smaller
When
than
you-
us, and $400,000 less, to be honest. I haven't generally right here.
All right.
When you brought up, Rob, that he mentioned about the, town ordinance person, that was not even brought with any information or anything. He strictly mentioned it. You yelled at him, and I'll play the documents back if you want.
That'd be funny.
You yelled at him and said you were not going with that, and you three couldn't vote on it because it was never brought up for a vote. So 3 of you 4 couldn't even vote on something because it was never put on the floor as a vote to begin with because we had no information on it.
And vice versa at the time, so my just was not there, so I wanted to bring the
Do
information
you
to
have
you.
something you'd like to say, ask, speak?
I mean, I think I asked that person there to see if he, gave an explicit.
Okay. Tyler?
Well, I don't think that there should be anything wrong with asking questions. I mean, if you're curious about something and you're asking a question, you shouldn't get upset and then walk out of the meeting. I mean, it's, everybody has questions that, if the information's not in front of you or you're asking for information to be provided, so you can just kind of, not saying it's right, wrong, but in between, but you just wanna make sure you have all the information in front of you provided. I don't know that should upset anyone.
Well, from the feedback that I received from residents and from the, the video clip that I watched, yes, we are allowed to ask questions, but as elected officials and as people representing our town, at all times, we should be courteous and give people respect and stay professional. So that's what I'll add to what you just said, Hal. You're right, we are allowed to ask questions, and we do have a right to answers. We have to make educated decisions, for our residents. But that doesn't give us the right to be rude or disrespectful or to yell and shout. There's zero excuse for
I don't
that.
think any of it was.
No one yelled, shouted, or anything. No.
We all know things can get a little hostile in here.
I think that day it was just a general conversation.
No.
Bonnie, would you like to say something?
So, when I first came on and went through our first budget meeting.
Speak into the mic.
Thank you. When I first came on council and we went through our first budget meeting, I specifically asked why we have a CPA. And I was told by the current mayor at that time, well, every town needs a CPA. And it's like, well, okay, that makes sense to me. So I certainly made an assumption that, the CPA would be doing the jobs that's outlined in our mini code, which I provided you all a copy with, and at a bare minimum, so oversight of these things. And, we've had some substantial costs to the town. We've had, since that particular firm was with us, we had, a forensic audit that had to be done for payroll because it was everybody's payroll in the town was incorrectly done for a little bit. We also have, which I provided you because I found out about, an IRS document here where, things were not filed correctly. And from what I can gather, because we've never been told about it or anything. I believe it was from 1099s improperly filed though. But I mean, subsequent, it looks like it cost us almost $9,000 in penalties. And we were never that, so if I add up the forensic audit and this, IRS document here, we probably paid out like $30,000 because things were not done correctly. And it would have been that original question that I asked, why do we have a CPA? To me, it was to oversee those things, so I have a little bit of a problem with what's been done and what's been, what's the cost to our town has been. I think it's been quite substantial. But that's for the CPA.
Please note that the CPA was not doing CPA work when he was originally called to work for the city. He's only had that for 1 year where he was doing advanced other things. Again, I'm not here to defend him, just put the timeline there.
Well, my question was, in my statement was, do we need to have a special meeting to discuss this more? Tonight was just a preliminary, is this what the direction that we want to head, with our accountant? Do we want to, he's obviously has already turned in his 60-day notice, and we have to replace the accountant. Okay, well, when we're going to replace the accountant, I believe that we have to have exactly what that accountant's job is going to be before we can say we want a new accounting service, that you're going to do A, B, C, D, E, and as part of the workshop, it was the discussion was going to be on the town clerk's responsibility on those different issues in accounting and stuff, so that we could divide what the town clerk was supposed to do and what a CPA was supposed to do. How much of the work could we have done by our town clerk versus paying a certified public accountant to do certain things? That was the question, and that's what we wanted to discuss. I don't think tonight's the night to be discussing all this. I think that tonight's the night that we need to decide that we're going to have another special meeting to discuss all of this.
Well, that's, you didn't include the payroll service too, so
There's a lot,
to that as well, so.
How do you ask for a new payroll company or a new accounting service if you don't have the exact issues that you want the accountant to cover? And that's what we need to find out.
Well, just from my understanding, Anna has taken on the roles of payroll, so we don't pay any additional expense anymore for payroll. Anna has that responsibility.
I don't know what other things are in here, that,
Well, I just heard that one thing, so I just wanted to correct you before you went to.
I heard that also, that she was doing payroll, right?
I'm sorry. I sit through every council meeting once, and then I go back and I listen to it again because I transcribe the meeting minutes. And I believe the directive at the last meeting was to workshop tonight the accountant and the clerk for scope of services purposes.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I just said. Now it's just questioning whether or not we needed to have a special meeting, close this meeting, and go to the workshop to decide what your responsibilities are, what the accountant's responsibilities are. Is what we're looking for. That answer, is that not correct?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you
That was my
ask for an
understanding.
accounting service to come in? That's why I asked Imagine That to be here, because they're professionals at doing this, and they would be able to give us counsel on where we needed to head, what we're looking for.
I think some of the questions are, is there more that we can do, whether it's software related or anything else, in-house that could eliminate some of the costs that we've paid to the CPA be more part-time, even more part-time than what it actually is.
Well, remember,
just to reconcile.
Yeah, 2 meetings ago, remember I asked how much we're paying annually for and then how much time do they put in a week? And the answer was like 4 to 6 hours, 4 to 8 hours a week, and we're paying them over $60,000. And that's when I recommended immediately that we need to put out an application.
Which seems like a lot.
Go out to bid. No, it seems that's an astronomical amount for the little hours.
Exactly. And that's what's.
And I personally feel like we could find an individual person, so that a certified public accountant, maybe even with municipal experience, that doesn't work for a giant corporation that wouldn't have these astronomical expenses attached.
Or an RFP, and see if somebody wants to do it for cheaper at part-time.
No, I agree, I did not, we need to nip that, but it was.
Well, if we had
too much for too little.
Too much for too little. Yeah, and then not doing payroll and doing some other things. A CPA could do if they were doing CPA work, so.
And I think that it would behoove us to, when we have a special meeting and we're going to be talking about all of the different things, is to have a representative who can clarify that to us on both ends, on the management level and on the council level, to keep us all headed in the right direction. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I was just under the impression, even, the agenda here tonight, I thought we were here to discuss it now.
Well,
Maybe we'll set it.
We are, but I believe we have to close out this part of the meeting in order to go to the workshop.
That's correct.
Correct.
Right.
Oh, I see.
And then you'll go to the workshop portion of that.
I never realized we never adjourned from the first one. Okay, yeah, well, we need to adjourn this, we can move on.
Mayor,
Right.
we're not finished, just be careful before you adjourn. If you contemplate taking any action, you should probably do that during your special meeting, because once you adjourn, you can't take any action if you go into just work.
What about if we schedule another special meeting, let's say tomorrow night?
Sure. Well, I'd have to look at your rules. There's a notice requirement for how soon your special meeting is.
I believe it's 24 hours.
Okay, well, then, if that's it, then yeah, you can do it for tomorrow night. If you're about to adjourn the special meeting, that's what's warned. Once
Pete
you
had
workshop
something to
this.
say that we wanted.
Well, once you're done, you went out of order, are you done with?
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to read a letter to you. It sounds like this is where we're going anyway. So obviously this was dated yesterday. Dear Mayor Robert Howell and Council, through this letter I hereby tender my resignation as the town manager for the town of Kenneth City. It's been my high honor to serve you and the residents of this town since August 2021. Meeting my contractual obligations, I am officially putting in my 60-day notice effective April 27, 2021. This 60-day period ends on June 26th. The results speak for themselves. During my administration term, our administration has dug itself out of the position it was placed on when the great majority of the town management staff and several field workers left the town for various conflicts and accusations coming from the previous town council. Currently, our administration has undergone an RFP process for the selection of solid waste collection contractor and is now in the transition phase with Waste Pro. We have also worked with Football Development to improve the former Kmart property, further the improvement of traffic signage, submission of the NPDES annual report, and continue to work on the watershed management plan, highlight some of the infrastructure improvements that have been a focus of my administration. I leave this position with my reputation unscathed. I will put my lifelong record of achievement in local government management, higher education, in varied subspecialties of local government, political service, and work with nonprofits and the community up for review any day. Those who know me as a man of honor, integrity, exceptional character, and continue to be so. I will meet with you very soon, of course, when on your schedule, to discuss the terms and timing of my departure, and will remain willing to assist you in ensuring a smooth transition to new management. Additionally, please know that I will remain engaged in supporting your work to keep the town of Kenneth City as the safe, friendly, small town that it is. Warmest collegial regards, Pete Cavalli, MPA, Town Manager.
Can we have Rob come up and talk to us?
Go.
What?
Rob is an invited guest, and he's not here to speak on anything. I've questioned him, about the ability to replace a town manager at a moment's notice, and he's informed me that yes, he can do that. So the question is, I remember when Matt gave his notice, and there was no working it out. It was accepted immediately. And, when he turned in his notice, that was it. And I don't know, it's not my decision, it's the council's decision to decide whether or not we accept Pete's resignation effective as of immediately, or let him work his time period out,
I would love to say something. Okay. I apologize in advance if I get a little worked up. For instance, Pete has only been here 6 months. In my opinion, Pete, thank you for your service here for this town. I think you've done a great job. I'm extremely sorry to see you you go, but it's totally understandable. The way the majority of council speaks to you and Anna and the rest of our staff is unacceptable. As I said before, we should treat everybody with respect and courtesy, regardless of if we agree with how they feel or not. That being said, the last transition cost this town $54,000 in additional expenses, just lawyer fees, maybe advertising for a job, whatever it may be, the total cost was $54,000. Our town was told, maybe about a year ago, that if we continue our spending trends and habits without bringing in revenue, we will be bankrupt. We will go under. This town will be absorbed by one of the other municipalities. Having actions like this is not helping. Just want that to be known. I just want that to be stated right there. In my opinion, Pete has done nothing wrong for this town to feel that he is untrustworthy or not capable of finishing out his duties. Our town is already in trouble. Last time we did the application process, we had almost minimal applicants, minimal. And what we had to choose from, I'm thankful Pete was in that pile because we weren't thrilled with the rest of the applicants at the time. And the majority of council, we voted the majority for Pete. So I can say that they would agree with me that the applicants in the pool we had were not fantastic. We also were able to have the process done. Don't forget, we went through 2 town managers. We hired Lynn. She only lasted 2 weeks before she quit. She couldn't handle it. The financial guy, he just quit. He couldn't handle it. She read a whole letter about how we treated her and how this town was out of hand. Do you not remember that? I'm sure it's in an email. I can pull it up. It's a public record request. Sure, she found another job, but because she couldn't stand the way we treat her here. Who are we trying to slide on over here? Also, the Florida League of Cities, Pam Berpaccio, she's the woman who helped us the past 2 times. She's made it explicitly clear we are on our own this time. She will no longer waste her time helping a town that treats everybody horribly, and no wonder why they just run away. Our turnover rate is gonna go through the roof. And now with the reputation that we are just gaining and gaining, who's gonna wanna come here to work? So I don't know what we need to do as a town, residents, we need to handle something, because we're gonna go under fast.
I also spoke to the League of Cities today myself, and they said Kenneth City is known as a revolving door city. No one wants to come here and work because of the way the council speaks to them. Some of you go in demanding for the town manager to do objects or things that are not your decisions to do. That is why we have a town manager. We hired a town manager to come in, to look at the contracts, give us the contract, and we agree or approve. We don't go over every contract and say what we want as individuals. That is not why we were elected. And anybody that you talked to said, we are a revolving door. The person even told me, we need to have, as a council, a half-a-day workshop with rules and responsibilities of the council members. And if everyone is not in 100% agreement, there is no point in them coming in to do that. That they would tell us what our jobs are and what they are not. I also, while I'm on this, have had several residents phone me today and tell me that they have saw Miss Noble coming in and out of the police department all the time. If you are giving any inclination of anything that you are requiring the police department to do, that is unethical and it is not the council's job. And the chief should be sending you away and telling you that you need to go through the town manager, because that is where we are supposed to go. When Lynn was here, I asked for a meeting with the chief, and I had it canceled because she said any meetings that go for the police department were to go through the town manager, not myself going there and having a talk, unless I was going in to say hello. And I doubt you're going in there every day saying hello. If you are, you're disrupting the police department's work, and you shouldn't be doing it.
I also asked for some public records, and there are numerous emails where Councilmember Noble is demanding that our administrative staff perform certain things or get her certain information, and Attorney Mora has had to explain to her numerous times that you are exceeding your job.
Let's stop doing this.
Why you did it to me?
Right, yes,
You did it to me, Bonnie did it to me.
Excuse me, sir, you don't have the floor right now, okay?
It's our town, not yours.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
I don't want, just like I wouldn't want everybody attacking you, Barbara.
If I did that, I would expect you to attack me.
I don't know,
okay?
I got one question, I have several questions. Anna, have I ever spoke to you in a disrespectful way?
No, sir, you have not.
Pardon me?
You have not
Okay.
spoken to me
Chief of
disrespectfully.
Police, have I ever spoken to you in a disrespectful way?
I didn't
Mr.
name you.
Pete, have I ever talked to you in a very disrespectful way?
Honestly, I'd have to think, but I doubt it.
You doubt it?
I'd have to look through my records, to be honest
Okay.
with you, because
All
of
right.
the issue we're in.
Mayor, how I want to address that, we weren't referencing you, and whoever disagreed with me on that.
Okay. Well, I just think that we need to stop doing this, decide where we're going. When you said that Kenneth City has a revolving door, let me remind you that we've had one city manager before Pete, who was here for 7 years, and we've had Pete, that's 2 city
Not just a
managers.
manager, they said we are known as a revolving door with managers, finance people, clerks, and everything. They said, when these people leave, they call each other up and tell them what kind of a city we are, and we are known as a revolving door city. And no one wants to work with Kenneth City.
Isn't our job though, I'm just asking, isn't our job to look at contracts? It might not be our job to, it might be Pete's job, as an example, to present the contract for us to look at. But if we have a question, or a contract doesn't line up with an old contract, we want to match the contract, and we have questions about that. Isn't that all right as a council? And to try to save the citizens of Kansas City money if something doesn't look right?
It is, but at the last meeting, Bonnie asked for every contract to be pulled and gone over. It is our job to go over it. It is the manager's job to present us with something, and then we discuss it as a group and decide whether it's right or wrong. It is not our job to go write the scope of work and what we expect all these people to do. If we're doing that, we don't need a town manager.
In fact, I've talked to other town managers, I'm part of the town manager consortium, and not one has ever had to be asked to review contracts at this level and get involved. Again, that's the entire team of city managers around the county have said, yeah, that's our job, so management staff.
You have anything you'd like to address, Tom?
You know, for the citizens, I would just like to, maybe get an update on, you know, I hear constantly about code enforcement. And I mean, what are we doing about that? Where does it stand?
Well, this meeting here that we're talking about now, we're trying to get out of this meeting and into that if it's necessary. My question is a workshop going to be necessary with the fact that Pete's just turned in his notice and that we're going to be looking for a new city manager? It's kind of, at this point, kind of a mute subject to figure out what Anna's supposed to be doing and what the accountant's supposed to be doing when we don't have a leader. And that we need to get a leader first, and then after we do that, then start taking this piece at a time, getting it put together. That's the question.
I understand what you're saying about prioritizing, but unfortunately, like, accounting is huge, and I think we're gonna have to just multitask here, and unfortunately go for both at the same time, because our town cannot function without a town manager, and especially without an accountant, as we all know, because that's not what she does. So if we don't start paying bills or keeping up on the finances,
It's even.
we have to handle
Not to interrupt you, but we
Oh.
have the American Rescue Plan Act, who has several, reporting things that we have to do. This is huge. We have been given $2.5 million. So again, like you said, the idea of accounting and doing everything right, that's why Andy was here 3 days on his vacation.
And that's what I'm saying, like, as much as I understand the town manager is priority, but with everything else we have, and again, like, we're supposed to start budgeting. If the budget's not submitted in a time frame, isn't there a penalty, or what happens if we don't submit the budget by a certain date? Right, okay, right, so let's just talk about that, we're supposed to start that now, just
Wait a minute, hold on. our budget last year, we
Yeah.
were in the same position.
I know.
And
it cost us an
imagine
additional
that-
$54,000.
Imagine that came in and helped us with the budget and we got it done, we got it squared away.
I know, but for
And-
$54,000.
More money than we should have.
Well,
We
But
can't
that-
afford to do that
But
again.
that's also what you agreed upon possibly playing the CPA, that's too much in the contract, so we're in the same boat, we have to figure these things out moving forward to make sure we're getting the right fit and we're not paying too much on some of these contracts.
No, I agree with you.
So.
here's my suggestion.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay, here's my suggestion. I think that we should close this meeting. I don't think that we should have I don't think we should have a workshop when we're done here because it's just kind of a hostile situation we have going here. And we need to stop, draw a line, get our ducks in a row, and have another meeting at a later date and start figuring out what we're going to do to correct this situation. That is our job as a city council, is to correct the situation. I don't care who's right. I don't care who's wrong. I don't care who's to blame. It's our job to correct the situation, and that's what we have to do. Do you all agree with that?
I agree, and again, this is insane that we're gonna have to go through this process again, but like, we need to have this workshop like next week then. Because
Whatever,
time
but I don't
is
think
just gonna take away
tonight,
from
I
us.
don't think tonight is a good night to proceed with any type of meetings because the intensity level is way too high to keep going on.
That's fine, I'm just saying, we
Okay.
honestly, we shouldn't postpone it too long because it's gonna come back on us.
I agree with you 100%, Megan.
Do
I
we
agree
want a
with you
workshop
100%.
or do we want a council meeting? So if we wanna make a motion, we could.
I would think that it would be a council meeting, not a
It
workshop.
should be,
And then go to,
wouldn't this qualify it that we could call a special council meeting? Then that's correct, it should just be a special council meeting.
okay, that's fine.
And when did you say? Morning scheduled, or did you, I'm sorry?
I mean, I only recommend it next week, because the longer we wait, the longer we just keep digging.
Is council accepting this, resignation?
I mean,
I think you need to take a vote. Is it been accepted or are we just talking
but
about
we
it?
can't force the poor guy to stay here if he's
Stay.
miserable.
Maybe
Who
we-
wants to stay in a miserable work environment where he
Maybe we can fix what's wrong.
I'm fixing it.
We're not open for public comment right now.
You
I
should be
I
ready.
will, I promise you.
Good.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a direction that we're going in, so it's just not,
So the next Wednesday would be the 4th. May 4th.
okay?
I'm fine.
Do we, Mr. Attorney, do we need to accept his resignation by a vote, or
You do not.
we do not?
Right.
Okay, we just accept it.
Under his agreement, he has the right to resign of his own free will. Under the agreement, you have the right to fire him for cause or not for cause. He's sensed a majority would like to see him go, and so that's why he put his letter in, which is his right.
Do we just have to decide as a council whether he goes now or he works out his 60 days?
Well, he's, I believe his severance is tied to giving you 60 days notice, and so that's why he's giving you 60 days
Okay.
notice. If you choose to have him leave earlier because you don't want him here anymore, then he's got payout rights there as well. So it probably would behoove you to continue to get his services. for
Since he's
60
getting
days,
money anyway.
Rather
Right.
than, yeah, because he gets his
Right.
money anyway.
And we're gonna need all the help we can get.
What about compensation when you leave? Do you get nothing? Adios?
I believe so. I'll have to reread my agreement, but as far as I know, after 60 days, we shake hands. That's it.
Mhm. So the council's decision tonight is whether to accept your resignation as of immediately or as of in 60 days?
He's offered his resignation in 60 days, so your option, if you want him gone, is to make a motion that you fire him now.
Otherwise, he'll just work his remaining 60
And if
days.
you fire him now, he gets the same money that he would get if he stayed.
We're going to get the same.
Well, I can't make motions, so it's up to you guys what you want to do.
I'm not making a motion because I want him to work his 60 days.
I'll make a motion that we keep him for the 60 days that he's agreed to.
You don't need to make a motion.
Because I was saying, the only motion we would need to make is if we.
Oh, okay.
So, no.
Well, apparently there's not gonna be a decision made on that tonight, so we can just, quit this meeting and, cancel the, workshop. And then, we can come up with an alternate plan and find out what we're going to do instead of. I'm not getting any, the only, motion that I got was to let him work. I didn't get a motion for him not to work.
So we should just leave it as is then?
Leave it as is.
I mean, do you guys feel like,
I'll leave it as is.
right, it should just
I'll leave
stay
it
as
as
is?
is. I'll leave it as is.
Do we want to schedule a meeting for the board?
Fourth,
Next Wednesday.
next Wednesday, just don't make it Monday, okay?
Can you tell me the scope of the meeting so I can prepare an appropriate agenda?
In my opinion, I think we need to discuss opening up the search for a town manager and accountant.
Yes,
Okay, a
yes.
town manager and accountant.
Accounting, yes, ma'am. As far as.
I mean, and code enforcement officer while we're at it, or should we, or do you
Yeah.
think we should wait to hire a town manager and let him take code enforcement?
I think we need to get code enforcement as soon as possible.
Add it to the list on it, all right,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I'll tell you what, I think that we can drop for right now your duties that they want to, on here. I think we can drop that for right now and attend to the town manager, the accountant, and city codes. Is the three most prioritized things that we need to do.
Yes.
Will you advise me if you need me to do any research or studies on salary, surveys?
I think it would be a waste of time at this point. I highly doubt that much has changed in 6 months, and we need to take a brief look at the former job description that we posted, say that these are the things that we're still looking for, or these are not the things we're looking for, and we wanna change it, and we try to get it out.
I will say code enforcement, we're a little bit on the low side. So, as far as average goes, even here in the state of Florida, so if you look at it, there might be something to look at as far as the salary goes. It just is a concern, I mean, it then depends whether or not it's full-time or part-time, as far as the needs go.
I need to speak really quick too. Our building department, his contract expires at the end of this fiscal, I believe. So we also need an RFP for that position.
And again, friendly reminder, all the help we had last time and how they presented us with draft job descriptions or how they presented us with candidates because they're the ones that put out the applications, none of it. We're not having no help this time. So just please keep that in mind every step
We're
of
not
the
gonna
way.
have any help with what?
Remember last time the Florida League of Cities was here and we had Pam and she gave us that questionnaire and we all filled it out of things we were looking for or qualities that we wanted in our candidates, and they put the resumes out and they got the resumes and they ranked them for us as qualified, acceptable, not qualified. Again, all of that was provided by the Florida League of Cities.
We can still get help.
We can.
I'm just saying, contact now.
Imagine that's going to help us.
But they weren't free, the Florida League of Cities was free.
Right now, it's a cost of doing business.
Sure, I get it.
I mean, it's just a cost of doing business.
Imagine if we just were a little nicer when it cost us
Mr.
money.
Mayor, as citizens, do we have an opportunity to talk on this issue?
Almost.
Just can't have any questions.
But let's not be doing this every 5 months at the cost of the city.
Right, but
Because the taxpayer said it's costing money.
$100,000
Every 6 months, we're at the cost of the city to hire a new manager and a new everything.
I got you. But it is our job to correct the situation that we are in right now.
Yes,
It is our job to do
yeah,
so.
I mean, it's just a sad situation.
Be that as it may, we have to correct the situation. And, that's what we'll do. That's exactly what we'll do. Okay?
So are we all in agreement for May 4th?
I am.
May the 4th be with us.
Oh, I hope so.
Something has to be.
I'll take the 4th.
Okay, so we'll have a meeting on May the 4th. Now, does the public have anything that they would like to say? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Robert Harrison, 6048 14th Avenue North. So, the way I look at it, I've been a citizen in Kenneth City since 1973. I've seen more improvements in the city in the last 4 months than I've seen in all those years, as far as how we're improving the city. As the way I look at it, Pete had two things that Pete could do. number one, he could have submitted his resignation tonight, effective tonight, or he could go in 60 days. And you talk about we need to correct the situation. Well, one of the ways to correct the situation is to have the council sit down with the city manager and see if they can reach some common goal, and goals to keep Pete on as city manager to save us $54,000. The solution is not just to say, well, we're gonna accept his resignation, not talk to him, let him work for 60 days, do whatever he wants to do, and then we'll get us another city manager. As council, sit down with the city manager, see if there's something we can do to retain his employment. That saves us $54,000 and keeps the city on track to do the things that we're doing down the road.
All right, thank you for your comments, sir.
John Kenny, 6144 46th Avenue. Why should it always be the town manager? If there's one or more members of city council that are causing a problem for all these people that we keep hiring, the council member needs to go, not the city manager or anybody else that's on there. We need to talk about getting rid of council members that are causing problems. All I gotta say.
Thank you for your comment.
Ellen Dalbo, same address. First question is to you, Rob. Whose decision was it to bring Imagine in to our meeting tonight as a guest?
To bring what?
To bring Imagine into this meeting?
It was my decision. I asked him to help with the issue.
What issue was that?
The accounting issue.
Okay. Did you go to the town manager, being as that's how the government is supposed to be run in this town?
Yes, ma'am, I did, and I was told that he was taking the sides of the accountant, pointed his finger and said, "This is on you. If it's on me, ma'am, then it's my job."
It is not your job. You are a council member. We as residents voted, I believe, 8 years ago, to have a different form of government, a manager and a town council. Town council no longer runs the town. The town manager does. You have no right to go to Imagine, to go to engineering. Other members have no right to go to the police department, and the police department has no right to be spending time at your properties on a friendly basis. You guys need to get it together. I'm so sorry, but I'm so happy that you took the high road and got out of this hostile environment. I would blame Anna if she does too. We will miss you. You did more in whatever, however many months than Matt Campbell did in 7 goddamn years.
Are you wanting to say something?
Larry House, 6114 49th Avenue North. Listening to the conversation tonight is a typical observation of the Kenneth City Brain Trust. Pete has decided that he needs to leave. Certain people on council defended him, which is fine, but they were making comments that are putting Kenneth City at a severe legal risk. And one of them is saying, they actually said we were creating a hostile environment for him. Understand what legal ramifications that can come if Pete decides to leave, or even after he leaves. He can file a lawsuit about a hostile environment. And you guys are the ones that are generating and saying that it's a hostile environment. Is there proof of that? But you actually said it, which shows how bright some of the people are on this council. Also, as far as comments that were made about, I don't know what the name of the company is, Imagine something or other.
Imagine that.
If you look back why they had to come in, it was because of the brain trust of actually 3 people still on the council that created that situation where we were left in this position where we had to basically panic and get somebody in here. You guys are all culpable in it, at least 3 of you. And you created another situation where should Pete decide to come back after us, good luck. Thanks a lot.
I don't think
All right, let's get back to getting this meeting closed and getting out of here.
What if the petition, sir?
Yes.
Just let you know about selecting contractors, they do have to meet with the procurement policy of the city. Just making a comment to you.
Okay. All right.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Janice Stir, 5500 45th Avenue, North Kansas City. I think that Pete and Anna came in here at a horrible time with everything piled up on them to catch up. And for them to do that, they have done a tremendous job of it. Now, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but that's the way I think. I've seen more improvement in the last 4 months than, like somebody said, the whole time Matt was here. And I appreciate you. I'm glad you have done what you've done, and you too. I hate to see either one of you go.
Pete, I just wanna say that I'm truly sorry for joining me, because I feel that you have done an enormous improvement in the time that you have been here. Because I went to Pete on an issue about the playground, and the very next day, they were down there doing the work. So I truly am sorry. I really wish that you would change your mind, because I feel that this town can go a long way with you in it. And I really, and if you leave, I wish you all the best. But I just wish that this town would just get its act together as an adult. Because I sat in this meeting last week and I did see remarks being made to Anna, and I'm not gonna mention any names because that's showing disrespect towards the other person. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not up here to do that, but I did see remarks made that was uncalled for. And it shouldn't happen here. We're all adults. We need to act like adults. We need to get this town up and running. As far as code enforcement, we definitely need code enforcement.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely. And that is another main priority that has to be on the list. But I thank each and every one of you, but I'm just asking you to start having respect in each and every one of us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you please?
My name's Jeff Honest, I reside at 4494 61st Lane, North Kansas City, Florida. I ran for mayor against Mr. Howell, and Mr. Howell won, and I respect that. What I don't respect is the way that Anna and Pete came into this town when it was turmoil, and then they're doing great things, and then people are sitting there. He wants to give his resignation because he's not getting any help from the council. I don't know what the situations are, but I think that if the council sat down with Pete and they discussed it, I think Pete would stay. And I think that he's doing great for this town, and we don't need to see him go and look for somebody else that we don't know anything about. We know what we have in Pete. He's done great in the last 6 months. And I think that council members need to sit down and talk and have a workshop with Pete to see if they can resolve this issue before he leaves. Thank you.
I'm not sure whether it was Megan or Robert who said about the city offering us some kind of training for you guys.
Thank you.
Sit down and learn how to get along and what your jobs are and all. And one of you said that they would offer us free training. Please take advantage of that free training because we surely need it as a council. For the 5 of you to get along. This reminds me of the council we had 10 years ago when the Baby News 9 was out in our parking lot every damn council meeting and we looked like a bunch of idiots. You know, if you can work with people, I don't know, I have successfully filed a hostile work environment. You know, Ron, you sat here one day and told some lady to shoot a dog when she said the neighbor's
No,
dog.
ma'am, that is not correct.
Absolutely.
No, ma'am.
Absolutely.
That is not correct
I
in
state my
any way, shape,
reputation
or
on
form. You bring it up.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I have to say.
No, that is not true at all.
So
That is
anyways,
not
what
what I
I'm
said.
saying, yes, it was. So that was just the tone that you
No.
set when you came in.
Okay, all right.
And so what I'm saying is the 5 of you have to get along. And unless you get along, we're screwed as a town again. He's probably not staying, but whatever. We had to do it again because of this, but please take some time to go to the training and so the 5 of you can figure out how to act as an adults.
Yeah. I would like to address the dog thing.
Yeah, please.
You know, that's just bizarre.
That's a lot.
I will give you the date before the end.
Yes, ma'am, I can tell you the whole thing. I can also tell you the next day, I got a letter from someone's house stating the fact that a Hillsborough County Sheriff's officer shot at a dog, missed and shot the resident. And that's what I was saying, target practice.
Exactly.
You're putting words in my mouth, and I don't appreciate that at all. I've been up here, I try not to get hostile about anything, but when you come out and say out and out lies about stuff, that I am not going to sit here and take that. I am just not going to do so.
I'm the one who said I carried concealed weapons because.
Yes, because of the dog. Did I tell you, ma'am, to go shoot the dog?
No, you said target practice.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Target practice.
Brian Howard, 493156 Lindenwood. There is no way that my husband would indicate or even say anything about shooting a dog. We've had generations of dogs over and over. We've probably had 50 dogs over the years. My husband would not suggest to anybody to shoot a dog.
What's
So
target
ma'am,
practice?
you heard it wrong.
What's target practice?
Target practice so they don't hit somebody.
Ma'am, my
If
dog was
she's got-
taken out by a neighbor's.
If she's carrying a gun, she needs to know how to use that gun. Anybody that has a legal weapons permit knows you need to know what you're doing with that weapon. Thank you.
You have to hit what you're shooting at.
Yeah, I didn't take it as meaning, you know.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Could you say that one more time for me, please?
We just adjourned the meeting. I'm just saying, I took it as meaning exactly the way it came out, because it's target practice. I need to make sure it's not the dog, and not the owner.
Exactly.
But that's not the problem. The problem was, I didn't like having to get a concealed weapons permit. The traffic carried it to me when I walked my dog. So, yeah, it'd be nice if we had people to take care of that.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Yep. Oh, yeah.